had many iterations. You know, there's lots of different things that it's been and will be in the future, and I think I think that's a huge characteristic of entrepreneurs, that they are always, you know, making it work. You know, I don't think they ever go, oh, well, this is it, I can't do anymore, you know, I'm going to give up my dream, and it's just kind of a drive, you know.
Welcome to the Veranda Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm Christine Mills. On the Veranda Entrepreneur Podcast, I feature entrepreneurs while I discuss ways you can grow your business today. Step onto the veranda, get a cup of tea, get comfortable, and let's talk shop. Let's do this. Welcome to the Veranda Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm Christine Mills. Before I begin, I really want to remind all of you to subscribe and rate the show. It'll be a great help to us and to make sure that other people can listen to the show as well. Today we have LeAnn Stephenson, the founder of The Vintage Laundry, a luxury vintage tabletop rental company that curates and designs opulent tables for clients in Texas and beyond. LeAnn Stephenson is also the founder of Beautiful Box, a company that specializes in paper goods, art prints, original art, decor, and apparel designed by LeAnn herself. Welcome to the veranda, LeAnn.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited about this interview. You have such a cool company. Tell us a little bit about you as a child. You know, before we get into the company, I really like to know the person behind your vintage laundry. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'd love to. I was kind of a very quiet, shy little girl. I was almost immediately 6 feet tall.
Wow.
And very pale. Everybody thought I was sick or something like that. And I had a bunch of really bushy eyebrows that I like to cover up with my long bangs. And so I was a really self-conscious little girl, and shy because of that. But I quickly grew out of that. And I was born in New Mexico, and we stayed there long enough to have my little sister. And I have an older sister, an older brother, and a little sister. And so my parents and I and my siblings all moved to Texas when I was about 3. And we moved to Abilene, Texas, and stayed there for a few years. And then I think when I was about in 4th grade, we moved to West Texas. My dad was in the oil business, and he worked in the oil fields, and my mom was a teacher. And so we stayed there for a long time and graduated high school there and moved on to college and my life today. So
oh, nice.
But I was a kind of a creative little girl. I like to draw and write and just copy my big sister. Pretty much that's what I did. That was my favorite thing to do. And I played a lot of sports because I was tall and had long legs and could run track and could play basketball. Not very well, but I could stand there really well. And I was in the band in high school and played the flute. And then it was very late. My business before, or what I did before I became entrepreneurial, was I was a graphic designer and an illustrator. So that didn't come until I had to decide what my major was in college, and chose graphic design and illustration and enjoyed it immensely, and then worked in publishing for a little while and for an ad agency for a bit, and then met my husband and had our 2 children and needed to stay home with them. So that's when the entrepreneurial thing came in, so I could be with them.
That's a very interesting background. So you're from the South.
I am.
Yes.
I am.
Nice. And now you currently live in Austin as well?
I do. I sure do. And we've lived here about 20 years now.
Oh, wow. And I hear Austin is like a very big entrepreneurial place where, there's a lot of buzz going about Austin right now.
It is, and it's kind of something you feel once you move here. It's just, I think there was this billboard when we first moved here that said something like Idea City or something like that, and you could just kind of feel the entrepreneurial vibe going around. This is where Whole Foods was started, and Austin City Limits, and it's a big music venue, live music venue place, and a lot of talent in that arena. So there's a lot of creativity going around in here.
Yeah, that's what I hear. I hear it's very nice.
Yeah. It's wonderful. We've loved it, and we were glad that we raised our children here because they are both very creative. My son is finishing up his degree in radio, television, and film, wants to be a director in movies or a screenwriter, and my daughter is was an art history major, and she's getting her master's in library science. So
nice.
she's our little brain.
Aww.
She can remember everything, and she's just really inquisitive and has I think library science is a really good thing for her because she's kind of like an archivist already with her brain and her memory and stuff like that. So it's kind of neat.
That is neat. That is neat. Yeah, everyone I've spoken to about Austin who lives there, they love it, and they say it's very beautiful. It's very green. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So
I was going to say I was really glad to get here because we moved from West Texas, and West Texas has no trees and it isn't green. So it was really exciting to come and have not only hills that we could climb and water we could play in and on and trees and everything. So it was really nice.
Yeah, like I've been to Houston, and I noticed it wasn't as green. It was more like So it's definitely more crowded than we are here. We're crowded and we have a lot of traffic and a lot of building and stuff like that, but they leave a little green space, so that's good. That's nice. Yeah, I grew up in South Florida. It's very lush here, so I'm used to that kind of So tell us about Vintage Laundry. I think your company's really cool, and I found you on Instagram, and I fell in love with all these pictures of these really opulent table settings that you do with your pieces. So tell us a little bit about your company and how did you start the business?
Well, it started with a shopping problem. I started thrifting. Believe it or not, all of my inventory is thrifted. It's either from an estate sale or an antique, shop or a yard sale or something like that, or a thrift store. So we kind of play off the opulent because it's kind of just it kind of shows you can have opulence even if it doesn't cost a lot of money, which which drew me to it immediately. But when I first began, it was just my kids were like 3 and 5 at the time, and I just started collecting a lot of things in my little Plymouth Voyager, and we started doing like vintage and antique markets, and I'd stored all my inventory at home, which was a little troublesome because we would have, closets packed full of stuff and with china and glassware and flatware and all kinds of stuff, piled high in the garage and so forth. And I wasn't very, specific about what I would collect. It was a lot of things. It was not only furniture, but vintage lighting like chandeliers and stuff like that, and then the glassware and china and flatware. And it all started. The reason my company's called the Vintage Laundry is because it all started with collecting linens. I fell in love with the printed linens of like the 50s. Those 50s printed cloths that were really popular. And they're so graphic and everything, so that appealed to my, illustrator, graphic, designer mind. So it started that way, and so the name came from my husband. So we were trying to name my business, and he said, "Well, you're doing laundry all the time. Why don't you be the Vintage Laundress?" And I said, "Oh, I like it." So
Nice.
we just went ahead and named it Vintage Laundry. So we sold everything in the beginning. At first we were going to, like I said, antique markets or flea markets or stuff like that. And then in 2005, I opened my first brick and mortar shop.
Oh.
And we found this old Victorian house that had, they had turned the whole house into a commercial venue. So each, like the downstairs was one thing and the upstairs was another. So I got the whole downstairs and had a great time with, painting the rooms and fixing them up. And at the time I even sold clothing, and we added to our services by adding, like a workroom for people's existing vintage furniture they wanted to reupholster. And we give classes about how to do that and about how to, repurpose vintage, linens, and we made a lot of aprons out of stuff that was damaged, and just kind of, made use of our inventory even if it was damaged. But then I think it was about 2010, I had a friend who was a customer of mine, and she styled editorial shoots. So she wanted to do a shoot that was inspired by Marie Antoinette movie that was during that year, about 2000, something around in there. And so she was really great at styling stuff. She came and she rented a few of my things, and the shoot that she produced from there was published in Teen Vogue. So we were pretty excited about that. And,
I bet, yeah.
Yeah, and so that kind of moved us into more of a rental business than a sales business. And so we started offering, marketing ourselves as like a rental resource for brides and event planners and designers and stylists and film and television and print professionals and stuff like that. So that just kind of bloomed into a really great business, and it was very popular, and has ever since then we have made a lovely living off of doing just that. And it kind of feeds my collecting bug, which is really great. So I get to, increase my inventory, and there's always a use for it, and I don't have to feel bad about being a hoarder. So that's how that was. But, the pandemic kind of has put a bit of a hold on the events industry, and so we're still just waiting that out. We don't really know how that's going to go. So kind of pivoted a little bit with my other business with the Beautiful.com, and have started working on that just so mostly as a distraction. So we don't have to think about it,
Oh my gosh.
We have a few weddings, but they're all in the fall this coming fall, and then next year we have some in early spring. But other than that, it's been kind of sparse, here and there, really small events. And kind of with my business, it's a numbers kind of game, if you can't, because we just ask a nominal fee to rent our things. So it kind of helps to have numbers or do an entire event or something like that. So, it's kind of changed it, but we'll see. It's hard to tell right now how that's going to go.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can imagine it's changed everything. I know that, I'm just listening to your timeline of when you started the business. You really started the business from just like a hobby almost, because it was something you're interested in.
Yeah.
And, and then it just kind of segued into a lot of different avenues. And the rental business, I'm sure it's even more profitable because the good thing is it's a vintage company, so it's not like the items get old, right?
Right, exactly.
So
they don't go out of style. Yeah. Then that's what we do. We kind of market it with, we're classic. We call it. We say it's always classic. So it never goes out of style. So that's kind of helpful. And then, there was that time frame where vintage weddings were a huge thing, and we kind of capitalized on that by participating in that, and then we kind of pivoted into it's that's the thing about my business is it's had many iterations. There's lots of different things that it's been and will be in the future, and I think that's a hit, and they are always making it work. They don't ever. I don't think they ever go, oh well, this is it. I can't do anymore. I'm going to give up my dream, and it's just kind of a drive. Yeah. I was, just researching you and seeing that, and it's. I think that online learning is a huge thing, and it's been a huge thing, but especially right now because of how everybody's stuck at their house or can't really be in public with other people or too many other people or whatever.
Right. You're absolutely right. I mean, I think the coronavirus is going to forever change us. And I don't know if it's going to be for good or bad, but just the mere fact that, people may have had weddings of 200 people. I don't know if we're going to be able to do that next year, but who knows? I know it's like, I think that once the vaccination comes, hopefully, I think people will be a little bit more comfortable doing it. And even if there is 200 people, maybe if there's 200 people outside and, I guess they'll just have to find a way to make it work.
Right. There's definitely, I think it's good for industry, honestly, all industries, not just mine, to think about, well, it can't always stay the same. Of course, it's going to have to evolve and move into something else. So that's how I look at it. I think that eventually it'll hit me, how I can do this, and there's lots of things in my brain that I'm working on right now and how I can still make this industry, this work in my industry, in the wedding industry, in the event industry. So, I think it's good for people. I think it's good that you have the opportunity to kind of think about your business in a different way than you had ever thought about it just because you were forced,
Right.
A lot of good things come from that, like diamonds. Diamonds are compressed, and so they're a good thing. And that happens because of forces that, so I just look at it like that anyway. I'm looking at the glass half full sort of deal and not, empty.
Absolutely. And I love the fact that the pictures that you have on your social media feed, they're just beautiful. Like, do you stage them yourselves or do you?
Thank you so much. Yes, I do. I stage them, and we have lots of in this industry, in the wedding industry. You do a lot of networking with planners and photographers and venues and stuff like that. So there's always that opportunity to get some really great pictures. But a lot of mine I do myself, and I enjoy it a great deal just because I get to play with all my pre-stuff,
Right. Yeah. So I can imagine, like, in regards to marketing, that's a big part of just marketing social media and pictures because that's what's really selling your items. So talk us through that. Like, how do you go about marketing your business?
Well, I'm when I first began, there wasn't anything like Instagram, and there was barely Facebook. So I did a lot of marketing through blogs. When I had my brick and mortar shop, I did a traditional ad in a women's magazine, and that was very helpful. And then there was a lot of word of mouth that happened, which is still something that happens for me as well. But it's any time you wanted to market yourself, it costs a lot of money. So I think social network has just been an amazing thing because it's basically free,
Yeah.
And you get to, I find it that I get to, inject a little personality into, what I do, and people can feel like maybe they know me as a person, which can only help my business, and a little humor, and but also it's great with stories and stuff and Instagram, how you're able to show your inventory just in a feed, and then you can put it in your IGTV, and it's there permanently, and you can do links and all this kinds of stuff to help people find you easier, and hashtags and all that business that are helpful. And I'm always learning about that, always taking every course I can possibly take about how to improve your connection and with people, and so I'm impressed with it, and I use it. I try to use it as much as I possibly can. Like with my new business at Bluefill.com, I'm trying to get that so that I can, the shoppable posts that they have. I'm trying to get that set up for that, and that's done through Facebook. Of course, Facebook and Instagram are their own together, and but I don't do a lot of tweeting. I mean, it goes to my Twitter, but I don't really participate a lot of that. And I do on my Facebook and, do before the pandemic, I did a lot of, let's get together at the shop and at the warehouse and the showroom and let me show you some things and meet some new friends and stuff like that. So that's all wonderful things. And, you can network on those social networking things by saying, hey, I'd like you to meet this person or look who I found and, things like that. So I think it's a marvelous thing and I'm really impressed by it and use it probably not to its fullest, but I'm trying to learn how to.
I think social media is a really great tool for businesses, and if you look at it that way as a platform to just learn from, and as it keeps evolving, I think it could be very helpful. You were saying that you are constantly learning. Any particular courses you've enjoyed to teach you more about social media?
Oh yeah, well, I've taken courses about Pinterest and courses about Instagram and just how to engage with your audience and it's a lot of keywords and stuff like that just to get in the right, in front of people's eyes, because people search for certain things when they're on those particular platforms. So let's see, always listening to podcasts and learning about email lists and things like that. That's something I started way back when we were doing shows and stuff. It's still something that I find valuable is email lists and, nurturing those relationships through an email list with either, hey, how's it going? Just wanted to let you know what's going on behind the scenes or whatever.
Right.
Or, hey, we're having a special or, hey, we have this new inventory or, something like that. So I still constantly try to, put out and learned just maybe a couple of years ago about lead magnets, where you say, hey, you want to free this or you want to do a, enter a contest or something like that. And so you entice people to you have to offer them something so that they'll give you their email address, basically,
Right.
So you want to, offer them something of value. So we either offer, a discount or a giveaway or something like that. So those things it's just a constant sort of thing. You wake up at the ground marketing. So, that's how that goes.
Yeah, and what's interesting about you as a business owner, you are actually working on 2 other projects. We spoke about Bluefill. I definitely want to learn more about that, as well as your course, The Business Behind Borrowed. So one, just let's talk about Bluefill. Like, I love the name. We were talking about the name of the company. You could tell listeners a little bit about that, and the mission behind that company as well.
Okay, well, as I said, I am an illustrator and a graphic designer, and I have a lot of years of roots in that. So when everything slowed at the pandemic about 4 months ago, we were kind of stuck in a house, and I started painting our walls. So I had done murals. I'd done murals in different times in my life, and so I started doing that, and it gave me a lot of relief, and it lessened a lot of the anxiety that was going on during that time because of the pandemic. And so and then that just kind of grew into, well, I know all these other, print on demand sites and drop ship places that you can apply your artwork or your pattern, design, your surface design to. And so I started thinking about that, and then kind of came up with beautiful.com, and it's like you said, it's an illustration and design brand, and we have things like stationery and our print and home decor and apparel, and it's all something that I've touched with either my design or my surface design. So it's been a lot of fun. It's
That's
been
amazing.
very freeing.
So
it's been lots of fun.
Instead of watching TV, you paint a mural. It's like,
yeah.
How did you spend the pandemic?
I did my fair share of watching TV. I have to tell you that, but that's where it started. It just started with I need to do something. I'm one of those people that I can't sit still when I'm fidget. I'll just fidget myself to death, and it took my mind off of it. So and at the same time, it was just very cathartic and very, because I hadn't done it, I hadn't really painted on a constant basis in a really long time. So it was really helpful, and it was really joyful. And I thought, well, if this feels this good, maybe there's something to it, and I had to just, pursue it.
Yeah.
So that's where that went from there.
Nice.
And strangely enough, the business behind the borrowed, that course that you had mentioned, is that's a course that I was initially going to launch the week that the pandemic and the shelter in place came in. So
wow.
I thought that is really lousy timing, so I'm just going to postpone that. And, it just felt wrong doing that during the COVID crisis where people were, losing loved ones to the disease or their jobs or shuttering their businesses. And I just thought, okay, well, we can just delay that. And then as it went on, I just thought, well, this probably is not going to be something that's going to happen anytime soon. And it's a little bit specific, because it does have to do with a creative business in the wedding industry. So, and all around me, friends in the industry that had, rental companies or floral companies or, anything or catering companies or stuff like that were really hurting and in danger of losing their businesses. So I just thought, okay, well, maybe that's a little too specific and nobody should spend their money on that. Plus, this just doesn't seem, ethical to do, So I put a hold on that. But if it does launch, and I would really like for it to, because there was a lot of work put into that, it can be kind of an overall scope of just, how to grow and sustain and scale a creative business. So there's a lot of things, like tools that you can use, social tools, and those were the topics I was going to, light on for the rental business. But it can be applied to all kinds of creative businesses or just entrepreneurship, as a general topic. So it'll be tweaked, and it has been being tweaked, but as a launch date, I don't have. So
yeah. Well, please
anyway.
Keep me posted. I'll definitely share in our, my social media as well. That sounds exciting.
I would love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because I'm sure that things will change, but I'm sure people are still going to get married and still need to celebrate celebrations. So I think that, things will turn around. It's just how it will look. My sister is actually getting married this year. I'm sure if she's hearing this podcast, she's like, really? You're going to put me out there like that? But I'm looking forward to that happy occasion because ironically enough, right before the lockdown, like the whole shelter in place, my niece got married, and her wedding was outside in a barn. Well, it was outside, but the reception was in a barn. And it was really neat because she actually did a lot of the vintage dishware and, dressers. It was really cute. So it was really nice to see that and to be a part of something like that. And I felt like it was just like a Pinterest page all over her wedding. And, it was just really pretty. And I like that people are really open to that, the vintage items, and really, even if it's a small gathering at home, I definitely believe that things are going to change.
Absolutely. And, the marketing for that business was actually going to be toward brides as well who didn't want to hire somebody, didn't want to hire a rental company or, or a planner or whatever. So there was going to be a couple of modules in there about that to help people along with that. Because, I know a lot of people don't have $1 bazillion to spend on a wedding. They need to buy a house, or they just need to live or eat or, whatever. So, even though I market myself as a luxury, tabletop design company, we are really reasonable compared to many places. And it's all because it's all been things I've thrifted, like I said, or found at an estate sale or a antique mall or something like that were just forgotten and cast off. And it made me sad because they were still so beautiful and had so much still to give. So that sounds really, cheesy, but that's what I think about a lot of my inventory. It's just, they're still gorgeous, and so there's no reason they shouldn't be put to use and get all the luster from all the use that they get.
Right. And, just an aside, because I'm hearing you talking about thrifting and everything, how long did it take you to build your inventory?
Well, for the longest time, I sold all of my inventory, but from 2010 on, it didn't take me long at all. It took me a couple of years to build up enough of an inventory, because I don't know where I got these numbers, but it was like, about 150 place settings, and for, sizes of weddings, you were supposed to have this much built up to be able to, glassware, plates, flatware, linens, and so forth. And so I just got to that number and then started counting it, and then it's kind of doubled and tripled since then. So,
oh wow,
we have an amazing amount. We have a really big inventory of blue and white porcelain. So we have not only dinner plates and salad plates and stuff, but we also have like the chinoiserie ginger jars and vases and stuff like that. And we built up really quickly a huge, enormous inventory of that, just because I love it so much. But then we had to add many pieces because we had a 350-person our guest wedding in Boston. And so we were like, oh, yes, we have that. And we did. We had the numbers, but maybe not exactly the vessels they were looking for. So we added to our inventory tremendously and hauled everything up there ourselves in our brand new van, and had the best time doing it. And right before we left, my son graduated with his associate's degree from our little regional college here. And so we had to jump in the car that night at midnight, and we had to deliver that next day in the evening, and we made it. So we were
in Boston.
All the way to Boston.
Oh my gosh.
We drove nonstop all the way, and it's a great story. It wasn't so great at the time because we were all just dying, but it's a great story to tell that we were it really wasn't 24 hours. It was 32 hours in the car straight. So.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, because I saw on your website you cater to Texas and beyond. So you've done events outside of Texas.
Yeah. We have a lot of, like I had mentioned before, we have a lot of the classic blue and white stuff, and that's really popular in the Midwest and in the East Coast. And not so much here. I mean, it's a little bit here. We do it a lot in Houston and in Dallas, but not so much in Austin. Austin's very bohemian kind of. And so we have that, but it's not our huge, pieces in our inventory. So we do travel a lot, and I think we're unusual in the way that we do that, but we just kind of look at it as it's a family vacation. And so I'm a one-woman show otherwise. And so my husband and 2 kids who are now adults get in the car with us, and we get it delivered, and then we have some fun, and then we pick it up and bring it home. So it's worked out really nice, and we really enjoyed it.
And the good thing is you don't have to, like, a wedding planner has to be there for the whole thing, whole event. Yeah. But for you, you just drop it off.
Yeah.
And
most of ours comes in the planning stages of it, and we have to know that, they have to know that we have the numbers, and we have to get all that right. And then we're free of a lot of the things that a lot of people have to deal with. We're just just like, here you go.
Yeah, exactly. The florist, all that. You're the pick up and go type of people.
That's exactly right. Exactly.
That's
I've got
really
some
neat.
antiquing to do.
Is there like for this your type of business, does it make sense to like specialize in one area rather than say we do everything? You know, like because I see that people. Yeah. Okay.
I really do, and that's why we decided our niche was tabletop. I mean, I do have furniture and decor, and we use more of the decor than we do the furniture, but we have very very little call for our furniture. I mean, it does, you know, at least once a month rent, but it's not like our tabletop stuff. That's our bread and butter, you know. So we chose very quickly what we were going to do. And I think that's important to do because that's kind of, it helps you, you know, stand out from the rest because if you want this, I can't tell you how many people I've been in photo shoots or have, you know, been the rental company for a wedding because somebody have seen my blue and white stuff and has said, I know exactly where you can get that. This is, you know, totally. Yeah. So it's kind of nice, you know. I think it's important to make yourself known as the resource for that, you know, whatever that may be. You have to decide what that is. So
that's true.
Yeah.
And based on your Instagram stories, I see that you really like the blue and white.
Oh, I do. Yeah, I go nuts for that. And it's kind of one of those things where that's not something that I really years ago didn't collect. I was all about the florals and the, you know, pinks and whatevers, and then all of a sudden something just clicks and I'm like, oh, I really love that, you know. So then I started just, you know, hoarding it. So and it usually works out. You know, you hear people say, you know, when you're in a business, you know, just do what you would like be done for you, whether that's a service or you know, your taste and whatever, and somebody else is going to have that same taste, you know. So if you are doing something that's foreign to you, you know, and it'll show is what I'm saying, I guess. You know, like if you're not familiar with something, it'll show that you don't know what you're talking about, or you're not I mean, nobody's an expert at China, but, you know, you kind of have to act like, well, I know what this is and I know how this goes together and, you know, mixing and matching and so forth and so on. So don't you find that it's important to just do what you're best at, you know, rather than trying to learn something new? That's true.
That's true because growing a business, it's going to take time for you to learn a lot of nuts and bolts of it anyways, at least the core of it, you know what you're doing. Yeah.
Yes. And have a passion about it, you know what I mean? So if you were, say, if I were just collecting something that were didn't appeal to me at all, then there wouldn't be much, I wouldn't be excited about it and I wouldn't be enthusiastic about it. And so somebody could see that and so they would say, well, I don't want that either, you know. So
Right.
But as far as my blue and white goes, I'm pretty enthusiastic about that stuff. So
nice. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to what the future holds with your company. And now we're just going to go into the rapid fire section of it. So this is when our listeners get to know a lot more about you, just little quirks about you. So the first question is cake or ice cream?
Oh, let's see. I think I'm an ice cream person.
Ice cream, yeah.
Yes.
Any particular flavor?
I like vanilla that my husband makes. He makes ice cream, so.
Wow.
He's an ice cream maker. You know, he just does it in the old, you know, those old ice cream makers that you put the rock salt in and the ice and stuff like that. So he makes a really good ice cream.
That sounds
vanilla.
Glorious. That sounds really good.
I know, it is. I have to tell you, I have to brag on him. It's very good.
All right. Favorite vacation?
Oh, let's see. Well, we went to Martha's Vineyard for a wedding, and we supplied some of our chinoiserie vessels, our ginger jars and vases up there, and we fell in love when we got there. And my husband and I decided we are going to retire there because we love it so much.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah, and it was just glorious. And we had never, you know, had to take a shuttle. You know, we had to take a what is that called? You had to take a boat over
the ferry
to the island.
The ferry?
The ferry. Yeah, you had to take the ferry over to the island, and it's just a gorgeous island. And of course, I ignored how expensive it is to live on an island, but I enjoyed just how beautiful it was, and we got to ride bikes all over the place, and it was just wonderful, and we had a great time. So set our retirement up right there.
I have a soft spot for New England because I lived in Connecticut for 13 years. So
did you?
Yeah, I didn't enjoy this winter, but I really do miss the just going to these fun places during the summertime because I really felt like the whole area just became alive when once spring hit. Everyone's saying, "So where are you going for the summer? Are you going to Martha's Vineyard? You going to Cape Cod? Are you going?" I mean, it was excitement. You could just feel the excitement in the air that spring was here, summer was here, and everyone's really excited.
Yeah,
so that's really nice.
That's exactly what I felt too. So I'm with you on the winters. We haven't thought about that. I have a little bit of a blinder going on about that. So it's like, we'll think about that when it gets there, But
Well, your business will do very well in New England and the whole area because I feel like people.
We've had a lot of weddings and a lot of customers there. So I think you may be right.
Yeah, I can see that. So your favorite business book?
Oh gosh. Well, I don't know if this is my favorite business book, but I read it's a Neiman Marcus book, and just how that whole company started and how they marketed and how they catered to their clientele was really interesting to me. I was really intrigued by how they did that and how just the time they took to create the relationships, with their clientele. But then I also read just recently, honestly, the Pumpkin Patch. I like that. I like that book. I think that's the name of it. And I think those are the two that come to mind.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's great. I have to take a look at the Pumpkin Patch as well. What was that one about?
It's about starting your business and just appealing to your client, basically, and things that you need to do to market and, staying true to your core business and things like that. So it's a pretty good book. It really is. Cool. And then I have a movie I watch all the time. I know that's not the question, but I saw Baby Boomer or something like that.
Oh, okay.
It's I may be getting the name wrong, but and I can't even think of the actress that plays it. But anyway, she moves to Connecticut and starts a baby food business. And
yeah. I know you're talking about.
Yeah.
What's her name again? Oh my gosh, she was in The Godfather.
Yeah,
she was in The Godfather.
Why can't I remember her name? Anyway, but I love that because she started something with a little seed idea, and then it grew into a huge thing, and a corporation wanted to buy it. So that was really appealing to me, that she had this little idea, and she wasn't working for somebody to make them rich anymore or make them successful anymore. She was doing it for herself. So that always appealed to me. I always thought that.
Yeah.
I always kind of look at that as a learning kind of movie.
I do like that movie. I know you're talking. Oh my gosh, I can't.
Yeah.
It's
going
to come to me.
I can't remember her name. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's in a lot of movies. She's in.
Yeah, she is.
We're going through a brain fog. It could be the pandemic that's causing this.
I think that's true.
Because I see her face. Something's got to give. She was in it with Jack Nicholson.
Yes, all of those movies she's been in. Oh my gosh. I can't even remember what her name is.
Because oh man, whoever you are, don't be offended if you don't remember your name.
Yes, exactly.
Diane Keaton. Diane Keaton.
Thank you. Very good.
Diane Keaton.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Blame it on the COVID, what we've been through.
There you go. That's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. Exactly.
So, most surprising aspect of entrepreneurship. I mean, I think your business is so beautiful. I'm sure that there are a lot of beautiful moments you helped create, but what's the most surprising part of just being an entrepreneur?
Well, just how, I guess, just because I hadn't thought of it, you're really never, people who have jobs and they work for other people, they get to be off work. And it kind of seems like when you're an entrepreneur, you're never away from work. I've heard a lot of people say that, but it's really true.
Yeah.
You're not. And I guess I didn't really give that any thought. So that was the most surprising thing to me. But also, the other surprising thing to me is I really don't mind. I like the work, because it's working toward one of my goals, So I guess I view it as worth it, and it made a lot of things possible for me to be able to work at odd hours because I got to raise my kids and I didn't have to leave them with a sitter or whatever, which I'm not judging that at all. My mom worked every day of my life, but it was just something that if it was possible for me, then I was, going to see if I could do it. And my husband, during the beginning times and still today, he's an attorney, so he is our constant money. I'm just our every once in a while good infusion of money, in there. Right. So there's a lot of luxuries that I have that a lot of other people don't. But anyway, I loved the hard work. I thought it was really great. And, my mom says she's never seen anybody work so hard in their life. And I say, well, I enjoy it. So it doesn't really seem like work. So,
right.
I mean, it's work for sure, but you know what I mean by that? Like, it's just really gratifying,
That's awesome. That sounds good. And the last question is, what's your superpower?
Well, I like to say in our business, our superpower is our pretty plates. But I think my superpower is this could be probably a detriment too, but I don't give up very easily. I'm a little bit kind of like a rabid dog. I don't let go of things, which could be bad if you're in trouble with me, but it can also be good if it's working toward a goal or something. So I think that's probably my superpower, that I don't give up.
That's a great superpower to have.
Well, it serves me well. So that's my guess.
Well, thanks so much for stopping on the veranda to talk to me today and for our listeners.
I enjoyed it so much.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for joining me. I really enjoyed it. All that's missing is a cup of tea and one of your pretty cups. That would have been perfect.
I love it. I love that. That's a great, perfect ending. Boom. You did it.
How can people learn more about you and all that you're doing?
Well, you can go to my website, thevintagelaundry.com, or you can go to blutiful.com. I'm on Instagram at The Vintage Laundry, and I'm also on Instagram for my other business at Blutiful Box. So, and those are the places you can find me, and I'd love to hear from anybody who wants to visit.
Perfect. Thanks so much, LeAnn.